What's up guys? Today I'm going to be upgrading the sound system in my 2010 Ford Fusion. I'm going to be putting some subs in. Had a hard time finding some videos on how to do this, so I thought I'd make my own and show you guys the process, getting behind the dash, running the wires and everything. I'm going to keep my factory radio since I have Bluetooth and the Microsoft Sync system and everything. So I'm going to have to use a line output converter to run the signal to my amp. So first I removed this little piece of rubber, this rubber mat in here, and then there's two 8mm heads in here that I removed. Look like this. It came right out of here. You take those out, and then it takes a lot of pressure, but all you do is you push this up and it'll pop. What helps to get this off is if you move your seat up, you can put your elbows right on your knees and get under here with your thumbs and push against your knees and push against this. And what's holding it is a little strap. You can't see it, but there's a strap in here that goes down to right underneath here. So to undo that strap, you got to remove this this panel right here. And on my car, this just pulls out. There's just four little pins. And it just comes right off. And then you got to remove these four. I think they're also 8mm, and then you'll be able to access that strap back there. So after you get this metal plate off, the nut that you're looking for is that right there, and that holds down the strap, that yellow strap, and that holds down this piece, so you can move this up more and get to these screws under here. So the strap's now off of it, as you can see. I don't think you have to take it all the way off. There's kind of two different rings on it. That should let us be able to move this up more, so you have access to those two bolts. So these bolts under here are a little bit smaller. These are 7mm. Once you have these two bolts out, this panel can just be popped out like this. But in order to get the rest of it off, we need to remove this whole panel. To get this panel off, if you open up your armrest, you get a flathead or something to go underneath here, and you can just pop it up, and then the rest of it should pop up with it. Make sure when you're taking this off you're really careful, because this is thin plastic. So with this panel popped up, now you can move on to this panel right here, and this just same thing. You pop it up, try and get it on these corners here because that's where the little clips are. Now with that panel out, you can see there's a couple of bolts down here, but you don't need to take these out. And once you have this pulled off more, you can see there's some clips behind. You just have to pop those off. You can see there's 4 different clips, and this one up here. And these are 7mm, and these got to be taken off. There's 4 of them. So now with those bolts gone, this radio can just slide right out, and you can access the pigtail connectors in the back and whatever wires you need. So now that I have access to the radio, I'm going to work on running the power cable. I'm going to run it on the left side, and I'm going to drill a hole through the firewall near the steering column. You have to pop up these panels, so just pry up gently on these to get them up, and there should be 2 clips, one about here and one about here, and this weather stripping is actually connected to those clips, so it'll come up with it, and you just have to pull those out of it, and I'll show you that. So you can see I pulled up on it and it's loose. There's another little pin back here, goes into that hole, but the weather stripping is still attached and it's kind of holding it down, so you kind of just get it off of there. Here's one of the clips I was talking about, and to get it off you kind of have to pry it away from it, and it kind of sits in behind that groove. So here's the first panel off. You can see it's got these tabs on it, and the weather stripping sits in both this groove here and these grooves behind here. So the rest of the panels should be pretty similar, and we should have enough space down here to run our I'm running 0 gauge wire. So to get this panel off, I think I'm gonna have to take off the back seat, and it's really simple. Don't just pull up on it. There's actually a little tab that you have to push. It's like a little black plastic tab. You can't see. You have to feel around for it, and you push it to the side, and then the seat should just lift up like that. So here's the seat off, and you can see this black tab here. You pull this up like that, and it releases the little metal clip. And it's the same over there. So now I'm going to take off this plastic trim piece around this steering column, and there's these two little white nuts that I'm going to take off, and that should expose most of the firewall. So here's the piece I took out. You can see there's the steering column, and all this red right here is the firewall, and this little black piece of plastic can be moved around, and I'm going to try and find a good place to drill a hole through. So I just drilled the pilot hole, and I got a bit sticking through it, so I can see it on the other side. So here, if you see in the engine bay, there's the bit sticking out right next to the steering column. Alright, so I drilled a bigger hole, and I've started to run the power wire. Here's the homemade grommet I made, and we're just running that power wire up here and around, and however you can get it to the back. So I've basically got the wire run. It goes from right under there, under those pads, up over here, and goes under this panel here, all the way through back here under this panel. You can see it there, and it goes up and under the seat, and then you can see it popping through the back right there. So now I have the power wire completely run, and now it's ready to be mounted. Next I'm going to work on installing the LC2i. So here's the line output converter I'm going to be using. You can see it takes left and right signal, so I'm going to grab that from behind the stereo now. So I have the radio out now, and here's the harness that we're going to be working with. These two wires right here, this is our front left, and this is positive, and this white and black one is negative, and this is our front right. This orange and white one is our negative, and this white and purple one is our positive. So I'm going to splice into these wires and run some speaker wire to the trunk for my line output converter. I'm going to run them on the right side underneath these panels the same way I did with our power wire. Now everything's soldered up. I put heat shrink tubing over it and then taped it. And so now that these wires are all hooked up, I'm going to run them to the back. So now I got the speaker wires running into the back. The next thing I'm going to do is find a ground. So if you take off these two little clips here, there's one right here and there's one over here. You can pull down this wall, carpet, and that's the ground that I'm going to use. So I'm going to clean that up and put the ground in. So I got the bolt out. Here's what it looks like before, and here's what it looks like after. And this bolt is a 13mm, I think. Now I got the ground on, and I hit it with some of this clear coat just to prevent rust. And now it's time to start wiring up the amp and the line output converter. So I wired everything up just to make sure everything works before I put all the panels back together and put the radio back together and everything. And everything turns on, everything works. So I just built this new box. I got some new NVX subwoofers. Finally got the box in the car with the amp and the other unit mounted on the wall. And I just tuned it up, and I'll give you a little demo of what it sounds like. I'm basically done. All I have to do is the final touches. You know, I might paint or carpet the box. So I have to put the carpet back on the wall. and hide some more cords. But that's it. That's how you install a subwoofer with your factory head unit.